they're suing me for something I didn't do. Like, on God. It's just the most bullshit thing. And I literally had to pay them a lot of money.
Jake Paul just got knocked out by Mike Tyson, and let's face it, this could be the end for him. We've put up with his trash talk and attention-seeking antics, but he crossed the line when he tried to humiliate Tyson. That move might have ended his career. Sure, he's been on a fame-chasing spree, but now he's gone too far, and it looks like he's finally facing the consequences of his actions.
Teary-eyed. But, yeah, and then I wake up the next day and, like, have a phone call, like, with my lawyers for one of the lawsuits.
There's no coming back from this one, folks. If Jake Paul had stuck to fighting opponents his own age, like Ryan Garcia or Devin Haney, we wouldn't be witnessing his career nosedive like this. But no, Jake chose to challenge the big names Tyson, Canelo Alvarez, and now he's facing the consequences. When you swim with sharks, expect to get bitten. Jake Paul, the YouTube star turned controversial boxer, believed he could do whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, but reality struck him hard and fast. It all went down while he was partying in his private penthouse, basking in the sun, likely relishing the feeling of being untouchable. Little did he know, the long arm of the law was about to reach into his slice of paradise and snatch him away. Jake's reckless choices have finally caught up with him, and now he's paying the price.
Oh, told you, pussy. Must be your first time out.
The police didn't wait for Jake to stroll back onto the sand. They went straight for him, cutting through the waves like sharks closing in on their prey. There's no escape when American law enforcement is involved. It's almost comical that Jake thought he could outrun them. Even the dead can't dodge the law here, let alone Jake Paul. As the authorities closed in, the party atmosphere vanished. The music, laughter, and carefree vibes disappeared in an instant. What remained was the cold, harsh reality that Jake was facing something far more serious than he had ever imagined. The arrest wasn't just about breaking the law, it was a public spectacle, a dramatic turning point that signaled the beginning of the end for Jake's larger-than-life persona. The reality check was swift, and there was no escaping its impact. For so long, Jake Paul was the guy who seemed to get away with everything. His antics and controversies only seemed to boost his popularity. But this time was different. Jake wasn't in control of the narrative. Instead, he was the one being chased, the one being taken down. The image of him being pulled from the water, surrounded by police, starkly contrasts with the invincible, untouchable persona he tried to project. This was the moment the face cracked, revealing a man who could no longer dodge the consequences of his actions. So what exactly did Jake Paul do to set off such a buzz? Let's cut to the chase and spill the tea. Jake breached a contract, and not just any contract. This was the big one, the golden ticket that secured his much-anticipated fight with none other than Mike Tyson. Breaking it wasn't just reckless, it was career-ending, and now he's facing the fallout.
The contract, big boy. Sign the contract.
No problem. Saturday, July 20th.
Yes, the Mike Tyson, a name that sends shivers down the spines of even the toughest fighters. Instead of sticking to his word, Jake Paul found himself tangled in a web of rumors and whispers that he might actually back out of the fight. Why? Because Tyson's demands were apparently too much for the YouTube star-turned-boxer to handle. Now, let's get into those demands, because Tyson isn't the kind of guy who sugarcoats things. Remember, this is the man who once bit off a chunk of someone's ear. He doesn't mess around. Tyson made it crystal clear this fight would be on his terms, and his terms alone. We're talking KO-only rules, meaning the fight could only end with one of them flat on the canvas, no technicalities, no referee stepping in to save the day. Just pure, unfiltered boxing mayhem. But wait, there's more. Tyson's conditions were about to get even more intense. Tyson also demanded random drug tests. He wasn't taking any chances. He wanted to ensure the fight was clean and fair, with no excuses or funny business. This demand came after UFC President Dana White publicly accused Jake Paul of using steroids, a claim that shook the sports world. White, who understands the fight game better than most, didn't make these accusations lightly. His words carried significant weight, and Tyson was well aware of the implications, making him even more insistent on a level playing field.
I believe that you're a cheater, and I believe that you use steroids. So I want to randomly steroid test you.
Tyson was making it clear to the world that he took these steroid accusations seriously and wasn't going to let Jake Paul slip by without scrutiny. The introduction of random drug tests added a new layer of pressure on Jake, one he hadn't seen coming. This fight wasn't just about stepping into the ring with Tyson, it was about proving to everyone that he was clean, that his wins were legitimate, and that he wasn't relying on anything but his own skills. For Jake Paul, this wasn't just another fight to pad his record, it was the ultimate challenge, the moment to prove if all his talk and swagger were backed by anything real. But with Tyson's tough demands hanging over him, Jake's confidence began to crack like an egg under pressure. Suddenly, rumors started swirling. Could Jake really be backing out? The once fearless internet sensation afraid of a co-rule? Say it ain't so.
They clowned me, they laughed at me my whole career. I've always been the underdog. Always. No one's ever believed in me, had my back. No one's ever, said I was going to be the one. I was always, mid-level, mediocre, this, that, and the other thing. And boxing finally gave me the lane and the avenue where I was undeniable. Based off of how good and how hard I worked is how far I could get. And I think that's an inspiring story to anyone out there. But what can they say now? First of all, the biggest fight of the 21st century, up there with Mayweather-McGregor on Netflix.
As these rumors spread, it became clear this wasn't just about some legal mumbo-jumbo or a simple breach of contract. This was about something much bigger: Jake Paul's fear of facing Mike Tyson on an even playing field. For years, Jake had carefully crafted an image of himself as untouchable, the guy who could take on anyone and always walk away with his head held high. But now, that image was beginning to crumble. The mere idea that Jake might be too afraid to face Tyson was enough to make everyone, fans, critics, and even casual observers, question everything they thought they knew about him. And let's not overlook the blow to Jake's reputation. Until now, he had navigated every controversy with a mix of audacity and clever PR tactics, somehow always coming out on top. But this was different. This was supposed to be his crowning achievement, the fight where he'd finally step into the ring with a true legend and prove he was more than just a loudmouth with a YouTube channel. Instead, it's quickly becoming the moment where everything starts to unravel for Jake Paul. In a desperate attempt to control the damage, Jake Paul is shifting gears, moving from his usual tough guy persona to playing the victim. He's now claiming that the lawsuits against him are baseless, saying, "They're suing me for something I didn't do, like on God. It's the most ridiculous thing, and I literally had to pay them a lot of money for no reason." Jake's trying hard to spin the narrative in his favor.
You're suing me for something I didn't do. Like, on God. It's just the most bullshit thing. And I literally had to pay them a lot of
This is a far cry from the Jake Paul who used to flaunt his wealth and success at every turn. But let's be real, Jake's financial troubles are no joke. The breach of contract he's caught up in carries a fine so massive it has left him reeling. We're not talking pocket change here. Word on the street is that the amount is so astronomical that even Jake, with all his millions, is struggling to comprehend it. There's even talk that he might have to dip into his family's wealth to cover it. For a guy who's always flaunted his riches as proof of his success, this reality check must sting. And this financial hit isn't just about losing money, it's about Jake's pride. The man who's always acted like he has more money than he knows what to do with is now facing the very real possibility that his financial empire might crumble. The irony of Jake Paul's situation is almost too much to ignore. Once, he used his fortune as a shield, but now he's discovering that even his considerable bank account might not be enough to bail him out of this mess. It makes you wonder if some of his tears are less about the legal trouble and more about watching his empire start to crumble. Jake's attempt to win sympathy is a high-risk move in boxing, where toughness and invulnerability are crucial. Showing weakness can be a career killer. Fans who once cheered for him might start viewing him as just another pampered celebrity who couldn't handle the heat. Meanwhile, his critics are having a field day, using this situation as proof that Jake Paul was never the real deal, just a poser who got in over his head. Viewers were encouraged to share their opinions in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated with future content. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.